game. I'm going to ask you guys a question, OSIP, and we'll explain the rules. It'll be our 3-month premium giveaway this evening. We'll announce the winner at the conclusion of our quarterfinal round, but we turn our attention to Chris VanMeter. You see the big number 1 next to him. It's not the number 1 seed in the top 8. It is, of course, number 1 in our Season 2 Players' Championship race. But we're going to start things off right now with a thought siege. You do see VanMeter's hand. He's on 6 cards. He's got an Overgrown Tomb, a Stomping Ground, 2 copies of Pulachronos, a Xenagos, and a Domri Rod. Not the best starting hand for him.
No, but it's not that bad of a hand against Thoughtseize. I mean, when you're playing a deck like Jund Monsters, when Thoughtseize really kills you is when your hand is like lands, mana ramp guy, and a threat. And they just take that one threat. Then you're basically just in a lot of trouble. But VanMeter had a lot of threats there, so we'll see if he was able to pull this one out.
You see Chris just shrug his shoulders as Pack Rat has shown up to the party right away. Chris going to play an Overgrown Tomb tapped and then play an Elvish Mystic. We'll see if Forsburg does have the 3rd land for the Pack Rat, as this game could end before it even begins.
Old school style. Turn 2 Pack Rat, turn 3 activate Pack Rat.
Oh.
Wow.
He's going to attack for 1. I wonder if Chris is going to offer up the trade here.
Well, he has the Mutavault, so...
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you. I almost missed that one. What we don't see is a 3rd land here.
Yeah, so he's not going to... He has to just activate and hit him for 2. Now VanMeter does draw a 3rd land.
Oh, my God. You can tell Chris, he just sat up in his chair. He knows he just made out of this turn alive. And you can see everything about his body language change. Oh, my goodness, I just kind of got out of this one. I didn't think I was going to. Now you probably have to deploy Pulachronos, right? With the ability next turn of Monstrosity?
It's tough. I don't know. Xenagos is actually really good here, too. You might want to be able to just get a Xenagos out there, make a Satyr token, and then next turn, if you could actually cast Pulachronos again, you can uptick Xenagos to potentially monstrous Pulachronos for 1. So I kind of like this play, just getting a Planeswalker out there. It doesn't die to like a Doomblade type effect. So,
well, there is your Satyr token. Let's see if Chris is going to hold this back or if he wants to get a little more aggressive with this. Of course, the token does have haste, so he could attack with a 2/2, or he could just hold steady and protect his Xenagos a little bit here. You see he's really thinking about if he's supposed to attack here or not.
I kind of like holding back because if Ryan attacks, I snap block with my Satyr. Even if Ryan does draw a 3rd land or activates Mutavault, you can still trade for it. And then even if he does draw a 3rd land to activate Pack Rat, you can still potentially kill it with Pulachronos.
That I do not believe is a 3rd land. Oh my goodness, the perfect start here for Forsburg. Now he's going to take care of the Xenagos. That's his entire turn. All he can do is pass the turn back. You can see the frustration on his face. If he drew a 3rd land this game, he probably wins it right away. Abrupt Decay comes rolling off the top now here for VanMeter. So now he's got the answer to the Pack Rat. The question is, does he want to cast Abrupt Decay now or just deploy more threats? And yeah, I like deploying more threats.
Just get those threats out there. Your opponent's mana screwed. Try to take advantage as fast as you can.
Wow, he does not draw a land again. Picked up a copy of Devour Flesh. If Forsburg was able to draw a 3rd land this game, chances are he would have been able to win it in a runaway, but he was not able to do that. Devour Flesh is going to take care of that Satyr token. But VanMeter's got to be feeling great right now. He can activate Pulachronos' Monstrosity for 1 to take care of that Pack Rat if he'd like to. He can deploy a Goreclad Rampager as well. He looks like he's going to get out of this game by the skin of his teeth.
Now he's got a 2-turn clock now. He's attacked for 7 now.
Yep.
So all of a sudden, Ryan, despite going turn 1 Thoughtseize, turn 2 Pack Rat, no 3rd mana, really wasn't able to take advantage of anything.
He found his 3rd land now. It's a Mutavault, but it is too little too late here for Forsburg. All he can do is shrug his shoulders now, think of what could have been if he had drawn that on time, and simply pass the turn back over to VanMeter, who will untap and take a draw. He's got the Goreclan Rampager in his hand, the Abrupt Decay as well. Can't take care of Mutavault, of course, as it's a non-land permanent. Gonna play a Temple of Malice, take a look at that Courser of Crufix. That top card's gonna go to the bottom. And we'll see how Chris wants to follow things up here, as it's time to just probably close this game out.
Yeah, Chris has to probably thinking here, okay, he's probably just going to activate Mutavault attack. Maybe he's got Devour Flesh. I'm okay if it's a Devour Flesh. So, yeah, I think if you're Chris, you probably just attack with both creatures here.
I mean, he's got access to the deck list before the match, so he knows what he can put an opponent on. You know, there is one ultimate price in Forsburg deck. He has 2 Bioblights, but he can't cast one right now. You know, so he can definitely put his opponent, figure out what his opponent has in this situation.
Yeah, he knows there's no Doomblade or Ultimate Price in his main deck, so.
And I wouldn't be surprised to hear, you know, Chris could, it's very easy for us to say, dude, you just move in with the Rampager and he just dies. Like, it makes sense to me where he could just say, okay, kill your Mutavault, cast my Rampager, say go. because there isn't a Wrath effect coming. There's no Mutavault, there's no Wrath effect, anything like that. So it's a very safe play. But he does just Blood Rush the Rampager. Forsburg's going to concede the game, and Chris VanMeter truthfully feels like he stole one there on that mulligan.
Yeah, turn 2 Packer. Turn 1 Thoughtseize, turn 2 Packer. You have to think you're doing pretty, especially off a mulligan. I mean, you have to figure you're pretty bad in this matchup.
All you can hope for is I hope you don't have your third land. Or I hope your third land comes into play tapped or something.
That's exactly what happened. He didn't even have a third land up until the end there. So Chris VanMeter definitely a little fortunate there. Obviously, game 1 was going to be the one that he's most concerned with. His deck gets a little bit better after board, but
we'll take a look at the sideboards in just a minute. We're going to bring it back to the booth here very quickly because we have to do our first of many premium giveaways this weekend. You got the rules,
yes,
and I'm going to do the question.
So
For
Cedric
3 months.
Phillips is going to give you a trivia question, and then for 3 months, all you have to do is answer the question, tweet at SCG Live with the hashtag SCG Premium, and again, speed doesn't matter, just accuracy, and just tweet at us, and you can win 3 months of SCG Premium status.
Of course, we will announce the winner at the conclusion of the round, and we'll announce the answer to the following question. Within Chris VanMeter's main deck, there's a lot of 4s and 3s and 2s and all of that stuff. He's got a lot of mixed numbers, but he only has one singleton in his main deck this particular weekend. Even if you take a look at the lands, there are multiples of 4s and 3s over there, but there's only one singleton in his starting 60 cards. And if you can name that one singleton, hashtag the answer with the hashtag of SCG Premium. Make sure you're following at SCG Live. And again, we will announce the conclusion. We will announce the winner, at the conclusion of our quarterfinal round. So it is about accuracy, not speed, as we will turn our attention back over to the match right now and take a look at the sideboards of each of these players. Forsburg is going to be on the play for game number 2, just like he was for game number 1. You can see his sideboard of a Blood Baron, of a Scopa, a Lifebane Zombie, a Sin Collector, a Deicide, 2 copies of Doomblade, 3 Freakus Curse, 2 Erebos God of the Dead, 3 Duress, and a Singleton Glare of Heresy. Lifebane Zombie is the obvious one, as are those 2 copies of Doomblades. The others are, I think, a little bit more difficult. I don't think you care much about Freakus Cure. Erebos isn't for this particular matchup. You can make an argument for Duress because VanMeter actually does have quite a few spells in his deck.
Yeah, his spell count definitely goes up after board as well. So Duress is certainly an option for Ryan, but I think if you're Ryan, you can't really afford to have any dead cards in this matchup, and Duress could potentially be dead. I mean, we saw that. You can Duress him on turn 1 and see a hand of Carroted, a Mystic, creature, and then you're just down a card. So I don't think you can afford. I think you need to try to get as much value as you can out of all your cards. So Lifebane Zombie I really like. Doomblades obviously, but I don't think you really have to go too crazy. I mean, your deck game 1 is actually not that bad in this matchup. You got a little unfortunate game 1, so don't overthink things. I mean, you kind of know what you're playing against. So I don't think you really need to go too crazy with the sideboard here.
On the other side for VanMeter, you see 3 Mistcutter Hydras, 3 Nihilious Disciple, a Doomblade, 2 copies of Golgari Charm, 2 Putrefy, Vraska the Unseen, a Mizium Mortars, then 2 copies of Rakdos' Return. Actually kind of like Return here. I'm actually okay with Vraska and Putrefy as well. You can certainly make an argument for Golgari Charm. Doomblade, of course, not very good in this matchup, but is there anything that really stands out to you as cards that he would certainly want in this matchup?
Mizium Mortars are probably the main card because you don't want to just lose to a Lifebane Zombie going unchecked. Obviously, Lifebane Zombie can be problematic because not only can it strip a card from your hand, but really it can attack your Planeswalkers, which is one of the way you beat the black-white mid-range deck. So I think going after Mizium Mortars is obviously a very efficient way to do that. Golgari Charm is another thing you could think of. Like, all right, well, maybe you bring that in because it's a way to kind of kill the Lifebane Zombies, but again, probably not that high impact. It does stop, it's kind of counters Doomblades and Heroes Downfalls, but I'm not sure if you want a kind of reactive spell like that, especially when your opponent's playing Thoughtseize and potentially could have Duress after board.
When we do have other updates in our 3 other matches, we will certainly let you guys know at home exactly what's taking place there. We do know that Jonathan Hable did win game number 1 with Jun Monsters over Jacob Baugh. So the interesting thing here is that Hable has already won a standard open with green-red. That same weekend in St. Louis, Chris VanMeter made the top 4 playing green-red. Hable ended up being the champion that particular weekend. And they're on a crash course here. Hable is the 1 seed, VanMeter is the 5. They're on the same side of the bracket. So if both of those guys can win one of their next 2 games, we could see a Jun Monsters mirror. Of course, on the other side, we've got James Sinnett and Josh Dickerson in a burn mirror, and you've got Justin Crandall playing a Naya deck against Devin Painter playing green-white kind of mid-range aggro. So one thing you'll notice here, no revelations in this top 8.
Nope. No blue decks whatsoever.
A lot of green cards, a lot of black cards, a couple of red-white burn decks that are actually squaring off against each other. So one of those is going to go through tomorrow for sure. Both players taking a look at their opening hand right now. It's kind of funny. VanMeter paired against the deck that he lost to last week and almost card for card what he lost to in the finals in Somerset when Charlie Reinhardt was able to win that Standard Open. We'll see if he can overcome it this time, as VanMeter is going to take another mulligan down to 6 here.
And I'm really shocked that there are 0 blue decks in the top 8. I mean, that's pretty incredible to me. And it kind of gives you an idea of what this format has kind of evolved into, where it's basically just creature-based threats, and the power of counterspell just isn't there anymore. I mean, there's just too many threats to contend with, and you can't play a blue deck if you can't counter spells.
Yeah, that's definitely true. It's kind of strange to see. Again, it's gonna be fun to watch. You know, this is very similar to what happened last weekend for VanMeter. And I know there's a lot of interest here to see if he can overcome this and see if he can make it through, you know, the next couple of rounds. He's been on a tear with this deck recently. In the past 2 tournaments that he has played, he went, okay, so Somerset was 10 round sets, 8, this is 16, 17, 18, 4 draws, 18, 1, and 4.
Wow.
Right now, over the past 2 tournaments, playing John Monsters.
And, you know, even without a win, that's so impressive. I mean, just the consistency.
Yeah.
The sheer number of games you have to win.
Yeah.
I mean, and he's won some pretty close ones, too. I mean, he's also lost some pretty absurd matches.
Yes.
But
yes.
He's won some really close ones. We saw one today where he lost to an Aetherling after casting a Miraculous Return for 4, or for 5, rather. And but he was able to pull out that match in a really close game 3. So, yeah, it has not come easy for him, that record.
Temple of Silence is where Forsburg will begin. We'll see what VanMeter's up to on his turn. Forsburg's going to put his top card to the bottom. Chris is happy with his mulligan to 6. He draws another copy of Domri. You see there are a couple of lands over there. He's going to start by playing Stomping Ground untapped and play an Elvish Mystic. He's down to 18 as we do send it back Forsburg's way. He will take a draw. You see a Swamp over there. A couple of copies of Underworld Connections in his hand as well right now. Maybe a discard spell. Maybe a pack rat. Maybe a removal spell. We'll see.
Yeah, and this is the thing. VanMeter looks like he has 2 copies of Domri in his hand. If he can get one of them to resolve next turn, Ryan's going to be in a lot of trouble. That's really hard for the black-white mid-range deck to deal with.
He's going to go with pack rat. See if he can get the job done this time as VanMeter draws another copy of Overgrown Tomb. He does have a copy of Dreadbore in his hand to take care of the rat. He could also play Domri, have the elf fight the pack rat as well. Not sure if that's exactly the spot that he wants to be in. The mana acceleration is certainly very important to his deck. So we'll see what he decides to do.
Yeah, I don't know. Given his current hand, the number of lands he has in his play, I kind of don't mind just casting Domri and fighting the rat. Because you still have a Domri in play, and you have, and all because he has a Dreadbore in his hand.
Mm-hmm.
He has a Dreadbore to kill any potential follow-up creature. So I actually don't hate that play, because your hand is basically just Vraska, you know? So maybe you just deal with that pack, right? Yeah, and that's exactly what it does.
And I can see where you're coming from in this play, too, because the Dreadbore can take care of like a Desecration Demon, which I think is what Forsburg may have just picked up this turn.
If he didn't have the Dreadbore, I think it's a different story.
Yeah, there's a Lifebane Zombie. No hits there. You see Vraska, the Dreadbore, the Domri, and then another copy of Overgrown Tomb. VanMeter is at 16, and that life total is only going to be going down further, but we'll see what Domri can do here on the next turn, as VanMeter will pick up his cards.
Yeah, I mean, I think he has to Dreadbore the Lifebane Zombie. Obviously, Desecration Demon is a card that you have to be concerned with, but I don't think you can afford to just lose your Domri right here.
Take a look at the top card, Sylvan Caryatid, so the mana acceleration is back. And it's kind of interesting. Now he can work his way towards Vraska, which could have a pretty big impact on this game.
Yeah, so it's going to be really interesting to see what he does here. Obviously, if he uses Dreadbore here and then Ryan's able to play a Desecration Demon, it's a really, really tough spot for Chris to be in.
You know, talking to Chris over the course of the day, he said, you know, winning the tournaments isn't that big of a deal to me. You know, I would love to shave if I have the opportunity, but it's more, I mean, he said it's more about just playing, like, good Magic.
Yeah.
And just playing really, you know, really well consistently. And he's obviously really happy with how the past 2 tournaments have gone with that incredible record, again, of 18, 1, and 4 over the past 2 tournaments right now. But, you know, he said, if I win the tournament, that would be a great story, but I'm so much more focused with just playing the best Magic that I possibly can to get ready for, you know, the future tournaments. And he's been playing really well recently.
Yeah, and what I love about his attitude during the whole thing is, you know, he ended up winning a match in 3 games earlier today, and then he walks over to me and Shroud, and he's like, man, I messed up game 1. You know, he didn't think about how he just won his match and he moved to 7-0. He thought about how he made a mistake, and it cost him a game. Not the match, just the game.
Yep.
So, yeah, very critical of himself, and I think that's kind of how you have to be if you want to go on this type of run.
Sylvan Carrington can be out of the group. You saw Forsburg did not hit his land. He just had to play an Underworld Connections and pass the turn back. Same problem here for VanMeter, except he adds mana acceleration to his board in the form of Sylvan Carrington. Forsburg is going to start his turn by activating Underworld Connections. He will take one to do so. He picked up a Thoughtseize for his draw step. It looks like he picked up a Hero's Downfall from the Underworld Connections activation. Now Forsburg is looking at maybe deploying a Pack Rat, but you can't imagine that Pack Rat's going to be all that safe when there's a Domri out there with 3 counters on it.
Yeah, and VanMeter does have the Vraska. He could potentially cast it next turn if he's able to hit a land. So, yeah, Ryan's in a really tough spot here. I think he has a Thoughtseize. He might have drawn a Thoughtseize.
Yeah, he picked up a Thoughtseize as his original draw step for the turn that he could fire off. Not sure how interested he is in casting that. He's got an idea already from a previous, from the Lifebane Zombie, about what's in VanMeter's hand. Don't know if he finds any of those cards to be worth a Thoughtseize, but at the same time, VanMeter did have a couple of draw steps there, so.
Yeah, and I don't think Ryan knows about Palokranos. Palokranos can come down next turn. Maybe he wants to take that so he doesn't have to use a Hero's Downfall on it, so he can use it on the Domri. But again, he knows there's a second Domri in Chris's hand. So
it's going to be a Thoughtseize here from Forsburg. He's going to go down 17 to get some information. There's the other Domri, which he knew about, along with the Vraska. He knew about the Sylvan Carrington from a previous Domri activation. There's a Palokranos and then a Xenagos, a card that plays a huge role in this matchup. Yes, Forsburg does have a Hero's Downfall, but the advantage that Xenagos can provide, even if it's just a 2/2 Satyr, is a pretty good one. And that's probably the reason why he's going to take that card from VanMeter with the Thoughtseize. Great against these black decks.
yeah, one of the cards that can keep Desecration Demon in check. So really important card there.
Going to start by ticking up here. Will VanMeter on the Domri. Take a look. It's a copy of Palokranos. Domri is doing quite a bit of work this game. VanMeter's draw step for the turn was an Elvish Mystic, so we'll see if he has interest in deploying that. Maybe that plus a Sylvan Carrington, so he can start working his way towards casting 2 spells a turn, or if he'd rather just, you know, throw a 5/5 out there and see if Forsburg does have an answer to that.
Yeah, it is tempting to get a Carotid and a Mystic in play just to kind of get that mana out there. But he has to be worried about Desecration Demon a little bit, I think.
Yeah, I mean, just a touch. I mean, he does have an answer in his hand to the card in Vraska, so it's not the end of the world. And you have to imagine he's going to find a land eventually. Now, hopefully it's not a temple if you're rooting for Chris in this particular match. So, I mean, he does have an answer. And I kind of like this line of just deploying the mana acceleration so we can start getting in 2-spell territory. You know, one of the things that makes Jund Monsters really tough is when you can cast, 2 Haymaker threats a turn, it's really hard to lose the game, as Forsburg does pick up a copy of Whip of Erebos for the turn. So he's probably going to be forced to activate this Underworld Connections now to try to find a land, and it looks like he did find one, but that one does not come into play untapped. It's Temple of Silence. That one's going to take a look at Swamp that Forsburg can leave on top, so that's a pretty good string of events there for Ryan.
Yeah, and to your point earlier about the mana acceleration for Chris, I mean, especially with Domri, if you're hitting with Domri, you want to be able to make sure that you can actually cast your spells. So, yeah, 2-spell territory is going to be pretty good for Chris, particularly if he keeps hitting with Domri here.
So Forsburg just has to kick it back over to VanMeter with 2 mana available. Chris draws his card for the turn. It is a copy of Overgrown Tomb. He's going to start by ticking up his Planeswalker. Take a look. It's a miss for once. I say that jokingly, of course. A little early in the day, Chris couldn't buy a hit with his Domri when he played against Chihoy Yim in a fantastic 3-game set.
So a couple of options here. You can play the Vraska and deal with that Underworld Connections, or you could just cast the Palokranos this turn.
And one thing Vraska cannot do, it cannot blow up land. So as much as I'm sure Chris would love to be able to blow up that Swamp, which would take care of the connections as well, that one you can't do. But Vraska could also come down here and just tick up and then, basically have double Vindicate looming the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
That might be a very, very good play here for Chris on this particular turn. But you see, he's going to take his time to figure out exactly what he can do. You have to imagine that Chris feels like, okay, I'm in a pretty good spot to actually win this game, given Ryan's mana troubles.
I think his main concern is if I play Palokranos here, does it just die to Doomblade?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Vraska, I at least make him do something on his turn. He doesn't want to get time walked, obviously.
And you saw there where Chris plays the Palokranos and just passes the turn back. Does not attack with the Elvish Mystic. No Mutavault out there for Ryan.
So potentially he wants to be able to activate Palokranos on his turn, at the end of Ryan's turn, in case he plays like a Lifebane Zombie.
Yeah, there's the potential of that. Pack Rat as well, even though Forsburg could activate his Pack Rat since he does have 5 lands in play. Forsburg's going to tap a bunch of mana, though, and just drop an Obs to that Ghost Council right now. So VanMeter's going to go down to 12, and Forsburg's going to go up to 18. He's going to get that out of play right now, and Chris is going to activate Monstrosity right away. So he's looking to get very, very aggressive here. as we have a quick update between the Jonathan Abel Jacob Ball match, 1-1 between Jun Monsters and Green Black Devotion. That's our backup match. Hopefully we'll have a chance to get over there for you guys. As Chris does pick up a copy of Blood Crypt, he's going to start by taking up his Domri. That Domri does not hit. As another quick update for you, James Tennant with Burn, the 3 seed. We had a feeling the player on the play would win, and that's exactly what Tennant was able to do, defeating Josh Dickerson in 2 very quick games. So that's your Burn player that's through to tomorrow.
So VanMeter here doesn't have too many options here. He probably likely just going to cast a Vraska here. I could see him attacking for 7. And then just keeping it carroted back to block the Obsidian to kind of protect your Domri. The thing is Ryan going to use I think Ryan might have to use the Hero's Downfall to take out that Domri, because obviously Domri can't become ultimate.
Yeah, we're getting really close to that territory right now, where Ryan does have that 1 copy of Hero's Downfall. He has to figure out the best way to use it. Does he take care of the Planeswalker? He knows about Vraska. That's coming. Does he take care of that? Does he take care of the Pulchranos that's in play? Since now it's a 6/6, Obsidian can't trade with it. There's a real decision to be made there.
Well, the good news for Ryan is he does have that Obsidian coming into play, and Chris is already at 12. So he's going to be putting some pressure on Chris's life. And, yep, we're going to see Chris attack for 7, dropping Ryan to 11 here. Let's see if he's going to play Blood Crypt tapped and then get that Vraska into play.
Yeah, I think untapped is just, I don't think that's a play that he can make.
You have 1 blocker. It's hexproof. There's no, I think you're good.
And there is Vraska. That's going to tick up, presumably. I mean, he could kill Underworld Connections if he wants. I'm not sure if that's the best use of it, as opposed to just threatening a double Vindicate. You see Forsburg's going to take a look at it. We'll do the exact same here with the Planeswalker.
Yeah, because I think technically if he allows the Obsidian to attack with the uptech ability, then the creature just dies.
Yeah.
So let's see here. Yeah, it looks like he upticked it.
Decisions here.
Chris still has to be feeling pretty good here. Chris is just deciding what he wants to do here. Yep, he is going to uptick it.
Yep. So now the double Vindicate is looming. Forsburg's going to bring his Obsidian back in. He's going to go up to 13. VanMeter's going to go down to 10.
So 10 life here.
Yeah, take a draw. Don't forget, too, that Forsburg does have a Whip of Erebos. He actually picked up a Doomblade for the turn. That's
great
actually
draw,
pretty good.
Now he has Doomblade and Hero's Downfall. So if he attacks with Obsidian, yeah, Chris drops down to 5. I don't think he can realistically attack. Although he does have that Whip of Erebos.
Yeah, but I mean, if he's attacking with Obsidian, I think Chris is, wherever it goes, unless it's Vraska, I think he's immediately blocking. Like, if it's going towards Domri, you're blocking. If you're going towards Sylvan Caryatid, you're blocking. Or, sorry, if you're going towards Chris's Life Total, you're blocking.
Yeah, so he has access to Doomblade and Hero's Downfall. The question is, does he want to activate Connections to try to draw another land and cast both spells? But that's a little greedy here. I think you're basically a turn before the Domri goes ultimate, but do you really want to give Chris another chance to draw into a Stormbreath Dragon here?
Yeah. The other thing, too, is just, you've already got 5 mana. Like, you don't need to draw. Like, it would be perfect if you drew another land that came into play on tap, but there's also a real risk if you're just drawing land that comes into play tapped. A Temple, an Orzhov Guildgate, something like that.
I think if you can cast Hero's Downfall and Doomblade, you're just going to do it.
There's a card that's kind of creating the problems in Vraska. You know, it could have taken down Aurora Connections last turn. It did not. But that thing just sitting out there looming really forces the way that Forsburg can play the game. He's going to start by attacking here with Obsidian. And we'll see if it's going to be going towards Domri, if it's going towards Life Totals. It doesn't really matter because it's going to get blocked. Sylvan Caryatid's going to go underneath that card. So now the question is, what does Forsburg want to do in his second main phase? As the attacking part is over, that was arguably the easy part. This is 3 mana.
Wow, is this going to be a Lifebane zombie?
It might be. It is.
Wow, so
Okay.
he can take the Pulchranos in his hand. And now Obsidian's going to go away.
He can really, like, if Domri tries to fight, it really gets ruined by Doomblade here. But I mean, yes and no. Like if Domri is, if Domri says, all right, let's fight Elvish Mystic and Life Bane Zombie, are you going to Doomblade the Mystic? That's not the best use
I think
of it.
Vraska probably just eats the Life Bane.
Yeah, you think so?
That's the safest play.
Okay.
And you'd rather just you want to ultimate Domri. Like that's what Chris's goal should be. It's that constant threat that's looming. And plus I want to try to just draw into Stormbreath Dragon here.
Sure. Well, here's step one. Vraska, take down Life Bane Zombie. Bites the dust.
Yep, so we're going to see a token. Domri's going to uptick. Let's see if he hits a creature here. It does not hit. Misses yet again. He did hit earlier.
He started off pretty good.
Yeah.
Don't get to hit every time.
They draw Mutavault for the turn, so he does have another potential threat. Although Polychronos is probably going to get met by a Doomblade here.
His resources are being exhausted right now. Doomblade's going to take down the 6/6. He will get the hit for 1. But that damage gets undone very, very quickly by Forsburg due to Obsidat. Obsidat's really starting to run rampant on this game.
Yeah, and Hero's Downfall. It's going to be able to take out that Domri before it goes ultimate. And Obsidat is going to have to get chumped yet again. So we could see VanMeter left with just a Vraska and Elvish Mystic at the end of this turn.
Yeah, don't know what the top card of his deck is. The only thing that we know is it's not a creature. Forsburg is at 14. VanMeter goes down to 8. Quick update on the other match while Forsburg does take this pretty complicated turn. Justin Crandall with a big Naya deck does take down Devin Painter and his green-white kind of aggro mid-range deck 2-0. So on the other side of the bracket, you're going to have James Tennant with Burn against Justin Crandall playing big Naya tomorrow morning. We'll see which one of these players here can work their way through. VanMeter again up a game, but this one's starting to slip away from a little bit.
Yeah, Obsidat came into play just at the right time, gave him a little life cushion, pressured Chris's life a little bit, and now he's just eating up Chris's resources here. Another character is going to probably jump in front of here.
Yeah, and no matter where that Obsidat's going, if it's going towards Vraska, it's going towards Domri, it's going towards Chris's life total, I think he's just forced to block.
Yeah, with Chris at 3 here, I mean, he would go to 3 rather.
So Carrington, number 2 goes down. Forsburg reaching for mana. You have to assume that this is probably the hero's downfall. It's going to go after Domri, and that's exactly what will take place. Chris looks at the other Domri in his hand and says that's unfortunate, but that's not too surprising. Forsburg has not played a land yet this turn. He does have a Godless Shrine as well as an Orzhov Guildgate in his hand. See which one he wants to play. He's going to go with the Godless Shrine. He's going to hide his Obsidat. That's kind of an interesting decision. We'll see if that comes back to hurt him. The option being taken away to play that untapped when he has a Guildgate in his hand.
Yeah. Kind of interesting there.
Temple of Abandon. Takes a look at the top card. It's an Elvish Mystic. Chris is going to put that towards the bottom of his deck. Now he's going to play a Domri. Yes, he could have guaranteed a draw of an Elvish Mystic, but he definitely wants something a little bit better than that. So he takes a look at the top card. That's a Scavenging Ooze. That's much better than Elvish Mystic.
So solid draw there. It can get pretty big. Let's see if he wants to attack with Elvish Mystic or just make the Scavenging Ooze a 4/4 to potentially play around Bile-Blight.
Counter here. Ooze there. Okay, does he go with a 4/4 right now? Or does he say, I want to try to block the Elvish Mystic and then make Scavenging Ooze into a 4/4? Back comes Obsidat. Little drain, little gain. Forsburg goes up to 15. VanMeter down to 6. I believe a Hero's Downfall was the draw here for Forsburg this turn.
Yeah, he's still got connections. Yeah, Forsberg's looking pretty good right here.
He's still got Pack Rat in his hand too that he hasn't even had to deploy. So if things get really out of control, he can start the the kind of the Pack Rat brigade.
Let's see here. With Chris at 8.
Jonathan Habel starts the game St. Louis Standard Open champion. He's through, plays the winner of this match, defeats Jacob Ball 2-1 with Jund Monsters. So we've got one Jund Monsters deck through. We'll see if we can get another one over black-white mid-range. Do it again here.
Ryan really taking his time with this turn.
Yeah, and I can't really blame him. He's down a game. It's a pretty tough spot. He's got a lot of decisions to make. He's going to start by activating connections and go down to 14. Plenty of life to work with.
All right, well, that's a lot easier. Kill both your creatures and attack you down to 2.
Yeah, I think that might be okay. You see the Devour Flesh and the Hero's Downfall here. He just wants to make sure that nothing goes wrong. I mean, VanMeter currently out of cards, so Hero's Downfall is going to take care of Scavenging Ooze.
Devour Flesh can take care of the Mystic. Chris will go up to 7. Obsidat takes him down to 2, and then threatens lethal just by coming into play next turn.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, he's going to be able to gain life here.
Yeah, I mean, he can gain life with the ooze. He goes up to 7 this way by removing a creature. Mystic stays back. Devour Flesh this. VanMeter goes up a little more life. That's fine. Obsidat's going to be presenting lethal over the course of 2 turns. And VanMeter's going to need some sort of miracle to get out of this.
Yeah, Ryan might just go after Domri here.
I guess that's fine.
Yeah, I think he's just afraid of a top deck Stormbird Dragon, I think.
Yeah.
It's one of the few ways you can probably lose this game.
Gonna untap and take a draw. Will VanMeter. Obsidat just really ran over this game. You almost forget how powerful that card is because we don't see it that much. But that card by itself really just changed the game.
Yeah. It's gaining life, and you're still dealing with a 5/5 attacker.
Yeah.
That can't be dealt with by sorceries.
Vraska's going to take care of the Underworld Connections. Might be too late at this point.
Yeah, honestly, I think Chris probably should have taken out that Connections a lot sooner. I mean, he had an opportunity to deal with it right away. As soon as he cast a Vraska, he chose not to.
VanMeter did come in across with that Mutavault for 2 points of damage, but the drain and the gain will take place. Forsburg is going to go back up to 14. VanMeter down to 6. You see the Bile Blight there in Ryan's hand. He still has that Pack Rat that he's been holding on to for some time now.
Yeah, if you're Ryan, I think just making a Pack Rat is probably your best bet. You don't really need to do anything else.
Yeah, I mean, he can definitely shift gears at this point. I think VanMeter picked up a Putrefy as his draw step for the turn. Looks like Forsburg is going to start by deploying an Underworld Connections.
Yeah, I think Ryan's trying to get too tricky here. I mean, just kill Chris. Chris is at 6. You know, you don't have to overthink things here. I think if you don't want to give him too many outs.
Yeah, there's Putrefy to trade with that.
Yeah, because now you don't have a really good threat anymore. You're going to lose your Obsidat. I think you have a Whip of Erebos as well, so now your best play is just to cast a Lifebane Zombie, which is pretty fragile.
Yeah.
Look at that artwork.
Pretty sweet, actually.
Yes, I like that artwork a lot.
I don't know what's being putrefied there. Is that poor bird, maybe?
So it looks like Pack Rat's going to come down, which is, I guess, just as fragile as a Lifebane Zombie, but he doesn't have any mana to actually activate it.
Yeah, I just don't like that from like an efficiency standpoint. That's all. Because like you're not going to catch a green card with Lifebane Zombie anymore. So I like using all of my mana in the following turn. I can play Pack Rat, and then if I draw a land, I can play Pack Rat and activate it twice.
Yeah. So if Chris drew a Stormbird Dragon, that would have been a live card for him. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like he did. So
what gave it away?
Yeah, it's going to be tough for him at this point. Even though he was able to deal with the Obsidat, Pack Rat still could potentially just take over this game.
Mutavault's going to go active. Chris is going to attack here for 2. Pack Rat is not blocking. I can promise you that much. VanMeter going to follow up here with a copy of Scavenging Ooze.
That was a good one.
Yeah, I'm surprised he doesn't activate now.
Yeah, there's a Bile Blight in Grind's hand, I believe. However, if he as long as he sequenced it correctly, he should be okay.
Forsburg going to draw a card. Picks up a copy of Orzhov Guildgate. He's a 10.
Yeah, like Mizia Mortars would be a sick rip here for VanMeter. Yeah, especially if Ryan deploys a Lifebane Zombie. Ryan, I'm not sure if Ryan has any more removal in his hand. Here's the Bile Blight, beyond Bile Blight.
He needs to tread a little bit carefully here.
Yeah, and it's funny that if he just maybe he's regretting attacking the Domri, but I still think it was the correct play.
I was a fan of just ignoring the Domri and just trying to get him dead. Like I don't think there's a combination of cards that Chris could have drawn to kill me that turn. If I was Forsburg.
Yeah, I mean I could see that.
You know, if he like draws something and then it's like, oh, my Domri hit like a Stormbird Dragon, it's like he was at high enough life total that it just doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, Domri didn't end up really mattering those last few turns. So let's see here. What does Ryan want to do? Attacking with Pack Rat's probably not the best option here, even though he can activate it twice, simply because Chris can make the Scavenging Ooze a 5/5.
It's tough to see. I mean, it's funny too because Ryan is the one with all the cards. He's the one with all the options here. Chris has no cards. Chris is playing off the top of his deck. He's got a Vraska that is basically doing nothing. slowly ticking up and working its way towards another Vindicate. And that's really it. Yeah, Chris, I think, is okay. He says, I'm going to block. There's a pack rat
This is an
activation.
interesting attack here. I don't think Ryan can actually make his pack rat big enough to kill the Scavenging Ooze, can he?
I don't think it's necessary for him to make it big enough. I think it's necessary to present the trade right now. Because like Chris has no reason to move. Or excuse me, Ryan has no reason to move. It's like if you want to trade pack rat for Scavenging Ooze, I'm still up for the pack rat. That's fine. Because this gets the job done.
So is he thinking maybe Bile Blight plus sacrifice a pack rat?
Well, I mean, at this point, like, yeah, I guess at this point, because it's a 3-3, this would be Bile Blight plus sacrifice a pack rat, yeah.
Yeah, because VanMeter can make it a 5-5, but Bile Blight plus lose my pack rat kills it.
Yeah.
So he's expending a lot of resources to deal with Scavenging Ooze, but Chris can try to gain a little bit more life here if he wants to. And again, like Stormbreath Dragon off the top.
It changes things. It definitely changes things.
Yeah, so if you're VanMeter, I think you have to try to gain life here.
Oh, yeah.
There's plenty of creatures to deal with.
Yeah. Like, I think Chris is thinking, okay, like, do I do this now, or how many times do I do this just because of, like, future Scavenging Oozes?
Yeah.
But, yeah, you make this exchange. You get your life total a little bit higher. You get to trade with a pack rat. Actually trading with the card pack rat is another creature in the graveyard along with the other Scavenging Ooze. If you're Chris now, you got to draw Stormbreath Dragon.
It looked like a non-land card, but I think it might have been a gold card.
Yeah, I think I think it was a gold card as well. It may have been Gorkon Rampager, potentially Xenagos. Xenagos is just okay in this situation. It's not great. It's definitely a spell. How about that?
I'll take it. I mean, I will take Xenagos here, especially with Mutavault. You can actually attack Ryan for 4, drop him to 6. Put him in an awkward position where does he attack Xenagos? Does he attack you? You're at 9 now. You get another activation with Xenagos. So that would be a pretty reasonable draw for Chris if he has it. But
if it's Rampager, I think it's super interesting because, you know, for Chris, he could go attack with Mutavault, Blood Rush Rampager, hit you for 6, put you down to 4, which is Stormbreath Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
That's also Rakdos' return for 4. Actually, Rakdos' return would be for 5, but that's enough to get the job done. I mean, it's going to have to be runner, nothing funner for Chris to win this game. But I think what he's trying to do right now is he's trying to figure out what can I runner off to win? What can I beat for my opponent? Is there anything I can beat for my opponent?
I think he might have drawn the Rakdos return, to be honest. That's what it kind of looked like when I first saw it.
Yeah, okay.
And that's what it was, yep.
This is going to be for 5. Going upstairs. Forsburg's going to lose the entire grip now.
And Pack Rat, he's still got Pack Rat and connections, so he could make 2 rats here and still threaten lethal in 2 turns. 1 turn, rather.
Forsburg going down to 4 there? Oh, okay. He has a Doomblade. So him going down to 4 is not that big of a deal right now, I don't think.
Well, let's see if he's going to try to go for lethal or if he's just going to make 2 rats and attack for 6.
Well, he can only attack with the 1 rat that's in play.
He can make 2 rats, though. Oh, and drop Chris to 6.
Yeah, he can drop him down to 6, yeah. There's a Desecration Demon with Doomblade available.
Desecration Demon with Doomblade seems like a better play. Top
It
deck
depends
Rakdos return?
It depends on what Chris draws.
Oh, it is a dragon, too. It
Is it
looked
really?
like it was a dragon. Wow.
This is really interesting. We have more turns to play here. That's the thing. Like, because this is going to take down that, and this forces Ryan to have something. Because, like, Chris can activate Mutavault. If they're oh my
wow.
There's a Mortar State. Oh
So
my
there's a
goodness.
Mortars. So now Ryan is just left with the connections in play.
It's gonna go down to 3. What does he draw for the turn? Chris VanMeter is fighting. There's a Mutavault. He has to pass a turn back. VanMeter, what does he draw? That's a Pool of Chronos.
Big boy coming to play.
Pass the turn back to Forsburg. He's gonna activate connections. He's gonna go down to 2. He draws a card.
Is it anything? Is it a removal spell?
Oh,
no,
no,
it's not a
no.
removal spell. If you drew Doomblade, there's no way you need to read Palagranas.
What is this play? He's reorganizing his mana.
Oh my goodness. That's definitely
he has
at
3
least
I
one
think he has
land.
3 lands in
I
his
think he's
hand.
got 3 lands too.
There's no
Chris
way.
VanMeter
There's no way.
From the brink of death.
There's
looks
no
like
way.
he might be able to pull this one out.
He has to pass the turn back over to VanMeter. VanMeter's going to untap with this Pool of Chronos. He's going to take a draw.
Oh, maybe Chris is trying to think about.
What is this? That's a Xenagos.
Oh wow. Okay, this makes it a lot
And
easier.
Forsburg's at 2. He has to have 2 things now. Well, he's got a Mutavault, but
He needs to have like a Bioblight,
he's
which is
gonna
the card I
attack
thought might be his last card if he has a Bioblight.
Gonna activate.
Okay, this is just showmanship here.
He's gonna activate Mutavault. Does he have the Blight?
Oh,
Okay,
so
he's got.
that's,
Okay, it's okay. Okay.
So that's what he was reading.
Yeah.
That's what I thought it might have been. I thought maybe block Mutavault, and he's going to try to fight the Mutavault.
He's gonna go
and then
down to.
Bioblight.
He's gonna go down to 1. This is a. Oh my goodness, Chris VanMeter
Wow.
wins this match over Ryan Forsburg 2-0. Jun Monsters moving on to tomorrow morning. You can see the look on his face. He can't believe it.
And we were talking about how it's not been easy for Chris. He has an incredible record with his deck, but it's not like he's been like handed wins. He's been fighting for these wins.
And maybe it all goes back to that Domri attack.
Yeah.
With Obsidat.
Ryan definitely probably wins the game because Obsidat just phases in that, and I don't think Chris actually gets the Putrefy until 2 turns later. I want to say I'm not sure exactly the timing of that.
Think about how that game went, where VanMeter was doing pretty well. I don't want to say he was very far ahead because Forsberg caught up pretty quickly, honestly, with Underworld connections and finding land drops and all that stuff.